And now it's time for the sponsor perspective portion of the program and a message from the sponsor of today's event, the National Association of Home Builders.
On behalf of NEHB, we're excited to join you today to be part of this important conversation. The past few months have been a hectic, but also very productive time for both the housing industry and our country. And I am certain we're going to see many changes and a lot of progress in the months to come. I'm looking forward to the rest of today's programming because I've seen the benefit of these Building the Dream events that we have held over the past few months. I'm grateful to the Hill and the NHB teams that have worked to put these events together and shifted to a virtual format considering the demands on the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. The Building the Dream series has touched many critical issues around housing affordability, including workforce development, which is an issue I'm passionate about. We've also worked to highlight NEHB's diligent collaboration with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to help keep housing affordable. Especially this year, we've seen housing policy impact the cost of homes on various levels, from land development to material costs. Today, I have with me home builder and national leader in residential construction, a good friend of mine, NEHB Third Vice Chairman, Alicia Huey. As a former NEHB PAC chair, Alicia has firsthand experience working in the political sphere. And as a home builder in Birmingham, Alabama, Alicia has firsthand experience of the home builder and home buyer experience on the ground. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Chuck. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. Even though we're meeting virtually, I think that's important that we continue building the Dream series. So thanks again for having me today.
Thank you, Alicia. And I know what I'm seeing and hearing in Florida, but I'm interested to know more about your experience and how it's been different as you speak to coworkers and first-time home buyers in your day-to-day.
You know, Chuck, it's probably not that different from your experience. As I've talked to people all across the country, it seems that we've all had the same experience with the labor shortage and then the challenges with the virus, but then also the cost increases, material costs, especially the lumber cost, and then also the shortages and the delays that it takes in getting the materials to us. You know, the subcontractors are all ready to go to work and want to go to work, but the social distancing and mask wearing seems to hinder that a little bit, and the process just taking a little bit longer to accomplish.
Tell me about your experience as Bill PAC chair. How have you navigated bipartisan relationships in the past?
You know, being able to serve as our Bill PAC chair was one of the most exciting responsibilities that I've had. But I must give credit to the members who work so hard, our Bill PAC trustees and the other members of our association that work so hard in raising money for PAC. It's also about the working to develop those relationships with the lawmakers and decision makers, and having the conversations about housing and what our challenges are and how they can help us. Our members really need to be credited for their work all over the country, I believe, that in their work to identify the pro-housing candidates, and then also sharing from the home builder's perspective with those candidates.
Well, Alicia, how have these efforts benefited the housing industry?
You know, some of the candidates are with us on issues and others are not. We've worked on regulatory reform, housing finance reform, the low-income housing tax credit, and government housing programs, to have those conversations with the lawmakers and pursue making building easier for our members and not quite as challenging as what we've experienced from time to time.
Well, what are some of the key challenges you'd like to see the next administration tackle?
Well, as you very well know, workforce development is a huge issue for us and something that we deal with every day. My trim carpenter, for instance, he is very concerned about the next generation of trim carpenters. He's worked hard to find a way to have an apprentice program, and he was making, great strides with that. And then the virus hit. That's a hands-on job, and to be able to teach those kids virtually is such a challenge. I think we really need to work to develop apprentice programs, work with HBI and the local schools to help develop real programs that can also navigate through COVID. But and then I think we also need to work on taking away the stigmatism that sometimes comes with some of those jobs as well.
Well, Alicia, how can the industry continue to collaborate with lawmakers to ensure that as many people as possible have access to affordable housing?
You know, I've probably already said it several times today, but I think that we've got to continue those conversations. We've got to have more conversations, more FaceTime with the lawmakers, and COVID has presented the challenges with that. But we've got to make sure that they understand what we are facing and what the challenges of the American dream are. You know, and again, from all across the country, the people that I've heard of, that first-time home buyers, that their dreams, because of the increase in regulations and then the lumber prices, has crushed the American dream for them. I mean, Chuck, do you remember the first time that you bought a house? How excited you were, but then also how scared you were. You had this big thing to take care of, and you also had to pay for it. You know, those emotions is what we've got to make sure that the lawmakers understand. I think that sometimes, and I don't mean disrespect to anybody, but I think sometimes we, in leadership, you see such a big picture and you kind of forget where you came from. So they've got to remember what that first home buying experience is like. And that's what we keep fighting for, is the American dream.
We know that in the home building industry that connections are important. Sounds like it's been a similar experience in working with various policymakers on Capitol Hill.
Exactly. And you know, the common theme here is communication. We've just got to get in the door and have the conversations more and more, and get more of our members involved. They don't need to see just the same person coming to them and talking to them about the issue. We need more and more members involved in those conversations as well.
Alicia, thank you so much today for your involvement with this. You had some great answers to the questions I have for you, and this is all for a great cause, and I look forward to hearing more and more about this event going forward.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck and Alicia. You can take over my role if you want.